Good morning everyone. My name is Dr. Pooja Mehta. I am a pediatric neurologist at SRCC Children's Hospital.
And I'm Dr. Anaita Urvadia Hegde, also a pediatric neurologist affiliated to the SRCC Narayan Healthcare Children's Hospital. Today we are going to be talking about headache with a special focus on migraine in children. To start with, we're going to start with Pooja. What would you say are the common causes of headache that we see in children?
So headaches are quite common in children. Some of the most common causes of headaches are a sinus headache. When a child has a lot of nasal congestion, sinuses get full, that gives a headache. Tension headaches. Stress is a very big factor in children as young as 5 and 6 years of age. That can be a cause for the headaches. The next common one which we'll be discussing in detail today are migraine headaches. The less common serious causes are when you have a mass or a tumor growing in the brain. Eye headaches or refractive error headaches, they are reported as the most common ones, but they are highly overrated. We would put them a little lower down on the list when evaluating a child for headaches. So Anaita, what are the common features of a migraine headache in children?
So migraine headaches are very similar really to adult headaches, but they have a few variations. Classically, you get a headache in the bitemporal region, that's your temples out here. So in children, they can get it only unilateral, sometimes they can get it bilateral. They may be associated with nausea or an uneasy feeling in the tummy, but very often children don't report that, and that comes as age goes by. The classical feelings or the sensation of an aura, which is a sensation to tell you that the headache might be coming, and that is photophobia and phonophobia. Photophobia is basically triggered by light. So it is lights which disturb them and then the headache starts. So it's bright light, sunlight. Phonophobia is loud sounds or any particular sounds that can suddenly trigger a headache in them. Some children it gets triggered by smells. Some children are claustrophobic and it gets triggered. Sometimes it can get triggered by foods, which is a little overrated in children, more commonly seen in adults. But these are the basic triggers which bring on a headache. So in children, you can have a trigger which brings on a headache, but usually the kid needs to be beyond a certain age to be able to express to you that, this upsets me or that upsets me, and then the headache starts. And very often they don't have an aura and they just start with the headache. The other characteristic features of migraine, while these are the things that precipitate it, you also want to know what relieves it. So these headaches can very often be relieved by painkillers. Children tend to want to go to sleep. They want to go into a dark space, switch the lights off and go and lie down. And these are the things that can relieve them. Some of them actually may throw up or be nauseous, and if they vomit, they feel it's much better. Some of them know when it is coming and they try to prevent it by doing activities that block it. So it's what precipitates it, it's the type of the headache, it's what relieves the headache, with a family history or usually a mom or a grandmom or dad or something which may be having the headaches and the migraine as well. That gives you the features that this child may be having a headache. In smaller children, sometimes it can be just behavioral changes. A child just behaving differently or abnormal activities which he normally wouldn't do, which is episodic, which lasts for a few minutes or half an hour, and then the child suddenly feels better and it's over. You must keep that in mind in small children who cannot give you a history. So now that we go on, Pooja, what is the commonest age that you think we would see migraine in children? And while we said, they can express it beyond a certain age, do you think you can diagnose migraine in small children as well?
So it's a common perception that migraine headaches are generally seen in the adult population, but that is untrue. Headaches are very common in the pediatric age group as well, most commonly being in the adolescent, peri-adolescent age group. However, headaches can be seen in the younger ones as well, even the toddler age group or children around 5 or 6 that are school going. Yes, as we talked about before, they may not be able to express all the features of a headache, but headaches can occur in this younger age group as well. So that this is not a migraine headache, but this is something more severe or serious.
So we call them red flags, and when would I be concerned about this headache not being a simple classical migraine and something else? Usually if new onset. So if I get an acute onset headache which is very aggressive and it's coming daily and it's coming for many hours and it's not getting relieved by any of these symptoms, I would keep that in mind. If I have progressive headache, so that means it's of one type today and it's progressively getting worse as days go by or as weeks or months go by, that would be a concern. If the child wakes up in the middle of the night with headaches, complaining of the headaches, that would be a concern. If you have excruciating, extreme headaches, where the child finds it just totally unbearable and nothing can relieve it, I would keep a concern on that. If the child has any associated neurological features, so the headache is there, but I also notice that he's developed a squint, or I notice that he's got a little weakness in his gait, or something different suggestive of something maybe coming from the brain, I would be concerned. And if the headache is not relieved by any of the relieving factors, so I'm giving him the medicines, I'm giving him the treatments, and still these headaches are not settling, as well as if the child wakes up in the morning with a headache, early morning with headache and vomiting, and is becoming listless or not his normal self, any other markers of neurological features, I would definitely be concerned. So these are the main red flags that we try to get from the history when we ask the parents and the child about the headache. And if not, we would put it as a classical migraine. If we suspect something, we investigate it. So Pooja, if now that we've discussed the red flags and the classical migraine, how extensively would you investigate a child with migraine?
So that's a very relevant question. Migraine is a condition where there are changes in the chemicals, nerves and blood vessels around the brain. So there is no one specific test. It is generally a clinical diagnosis and it is a diagnosis of exclusion. So whatever investigations are done mostly to rule out other causes of the headaches. A lot of parents want to rush into or get a CT scan by themselves. However, we would recommend that do not get any investigations, do not self-investigate. Talk to your child's neurologist before planning on an investigation. There are two modalities. There is a MRI brain and a CT scan of the brain. An MRI gives you a little detailed information on the brain and it can be planned. CT scan is done when the child is having any of the red flags that we went over, or when your child's doctor feels that there is something that needs to be investigated acutely. So talk to your child's neurologist and then only an investigation should be planned. Other tests, your doctor may advise you to rule out other causes for the headaches. Many a times MRI is also suggested because parents are extremely anxious, families are extremely anxious when their child is complaining of a headache. So we may talk about getting an MRI to rule out other serious but even the rarer causes. So now we have a pretty good understanding on what migraine headaches are, what are the aggravating relieving factors, what are the features of a headache. Now we come to the very important question on how do we treat migraine headaches, and if you choose treatment, whom and when would you consider treatment?
So treatment of migraine is multi-pronged, I would say. We first have to understand that migraine is usually a lifelong condition. Secondly, we need to understand that 50% of the world's population has migraine. So I usually tell a family that, see, if we are 8 people in this room, 4 out of these 8 people have migraine sometime in the past, future, or even at present. So given that it's with us for life and given that it's so common, we got to find ways to help ourselves and not just chase medication for everything. So the first treatment of migraine is the non-medical aspect, and the second one we'll come to is the medical aspect. So when you look at the non-medical, it's basically lifestyle changes. Okay, you got to live with something, you got to find what triggers it, you got to find what relieves it, and you find how you can prevent it so that you don't have to rush to the second part, which is the medical management. So what do we recommend? We recommend very good sleep habits. So very important for all. I think we're beginning to realize the value and the importance of sleep, and we need at least 8 to 10 hours in children, and even in adults we would recommend, and in adolescents, at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day. Second is fluids. We need to have adequate fluids, roughly 3 to 4 liters a day, and it can be adjusted according to the age of the child. The third thing we need is regular meals and not Excessive meals, then followed by fasting episodes. So adolescents tend to have the worst meal habits, so we need to regularize that with small regular meals. The fourth and very important is exercise. We need to do a limited or an extensive amount of exercise, particularly in your youth and even otherwise, so that your circulation improves, your endorphins are released, and you feel good about yourself. The next most important thing is stress relieving support systems. So even the adolescents, and that's the age when young girls classically get migraine, and you realize that it's very stressful period. They're shifting schools, they're shifting into college, their career changes. That's usually when the migraine headaches kick in. So methods to relieve your stress, whether it's exercise, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, should be encouraged from a young age in children who have migraine, because knowing they're going to have to live with it, you might as well teach them the correct things from a young age. Other than the non-medical, we go to the medical. How do we treat it? What happens acutely and what is the long-term or prophylaxis or prevention? So in the acute treatment, the headache is really bad, it's come, what can I do to relieve it? The best is painkillers. Naproxen is considered very good, ibugesic is very good, they're distinctly better than paracetamols. So we recommend those for acute headache. The important take home is give it the minute the headache starts, and do not wait for the headache to reach its worst phase before you medicate. The second thing is, if you want to prevent those headaches, you realize your kid is taking too many of tablets because of the acute phase, you want to prevent the headaches. We usually only give preventive treatment if we feel the headaches are disabling or interfering in the child's everyday life. So if the frequency is high, or if it's interfering in his social life, his academic life, he doesn't want to go down to play, she doesn't want to meet her friends, and you think that's affecting her everyday life, we tend to medicate. This medication or preventive medication is, there are numerous options which your pediatric neurologist can choose from, and that would depend on the child over there. And this treatment is usually 3 to 6 months. Once the child goes into a remission phase and everything is fine, we take it off and we see what happens subsequently. So now that we've covered lifestyle changes, the other thing to highlight is prevention, and that would be, if you know your kid gets it with sunlight, I recommend you wear tinted glasses or wear a cap when he's out in the sun. If you know it's sound related, in the school bus, which is commonly the cause, either give him earplugs or music to listen so that the sound doesn't disturb him. If it's lifts which are claustrophobic, walk the stairs. If it smells, avoid those perfumes or those smells which may trigger it. And if it's food, which I want to specify very rarely in children, which are the foods? Grapes, cheese, chocolates, and your whole host of berries, gooseberry, strawberry, cranberry, etc., which could trigger them. Again, very overrated in children, so do not deprive your child of chocolates and cheese because you believe it might be until proved. Avoid the things which might trigger the migraine. So basically the focus is more on prevention than actually on treatment. So given that, now we've discussed that this is a lifetime issue and prevention is very important. What is the natural history of the migraine that you see over a period of years or into the next few decades?
So migraine headaches are generally lifelong. The frequency does tend to go down as the years progress. So you may have fewer migraines in your 40s and 50s. However, it's very important that Dr. Naika mentioned that it is lifestyle changes or lifestyle modification which is most important. You have to learn how to live with it, identify your aggravating and relieving factors. So lifestyle changes or lifestyle modification is of paramount importance. None of us would like to take medications lifelong, so it is these small, minimalistic but extremely important changes to lifestyle which will keep migraine headaches in check.
So at the end of the session, we just want to highlight a few take-home points. That one, migraine is very common in children. It is not only an adult-based condition. They can present similar to adults, but also with little variations and differences. And it can be even considered in young children where they are unable to express what they feel or express the concept of the headache.
Since it is a lifelong condition, lifestyle modification is extremely important to keep migraines in check. So important being good proper sleep at night, not skipping any meals, especially not skipping breakfast, stress management, regular physical exercise, avoiding triggers if there are any is important.
And if the child does need any treatment and we do feel we need to investigate and treat the child, please consult your pediatrician or your pediatric neurologist. They will decide who requires treatment for how long and will guide you as to better management for the headaches. With that, we'd like to thank you on behalf of the SRCC Children's Hospital from both Pooja and myself.